You all are probably quite familiar with the Pythagorean theorem. You know, how a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But this is not the only way to measure triangles. There's another function to measure angles, and arcs, and lengths of sides. It's called trigonometry. Trigonometry. Which essentially just means triangle measurement. And you can use trigonometry to find sides and angles of any triangle. There are three main functions: sine, cosine, tangent. I simply wrote the abbreviations here. But essentially what they mean, sine is the opposite side over the length of the hypotenuse, while cosine is the adjacent side over hypotenuse, while tangent is opposite over adjacent. But these three functions also have reciprocals. This is cosecant, which is hypotenuse over opposite, secant, which is hypotenuse over adjacent, and cotangent, which is adjacent over opposite. All these functions allow you to find out the length of angles and sides in triangles. And we have a couple of examples here, so let's go ahead and get into them. So for the first one, suppose you have been assigned a job to measure the height of a farmer's silo. Climbing makes you dizzy, so you decide to do the whole job from ground level. From a point 47.3 meters from the base of the silo, you find that you must look up at an angle of 53 degrees to see the top of the silo. How tall is the tile? So let's go ahead and draw everything we need for this thing. Let's go ahead and make a model. We'll go ahead, for simplicity's sake, to make a right triangle. Here, 53 degrees, and it does say 47.3 meters. And we are trying to find the height of the tower. So, what function would work best here is tangent of 53. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. So go ahead and multiply 47.3 to both sides. And then you end up with the most accurate answer as height equals 47.3 times tan 53 degrees. However, you are not done here, and you must make sure that you put it into the calculator exactly how it is in order to get the correct answer, which in this case, I mean, technically we already got it due to it being not as accurate, but rounded, it is about 62.77 meters. I don't understand how I got that by using tangent in the calculator. And that's because I was trying to find a sine in order to make that problem right. Alright, your cat is trapped on a tree branch 66.5 meters above the ground. Find a ladder that is only 6.7 meters long. If you want the ladders tipped on the branch, what angle will the ladder make with the ground? So again, let's go ahead and make our right triangle here. It's obviously going to be much steeper, as that's a much smaller difference in between one of the sides and the hypotenuse. And let's call this angle theta, because this is the angle that it makes with the ground. Theta is just sort of x for angles. And so, in this function, we would use sine of theta is equivalent to 6.5 over 6.7. Let's go ahead and put that into the calculator. And because we are trying to solve for an angle, we have to make sure it is sine to the negative first. And that put it in correctly, should give you the correct angle of theta, which is 75.97 degrees. There's your answer right there. We still have a few more to do here. Haleakala is a 10,000 foot high dormant volcano on Maui, Hawaii. The peak has a horizontal distance of only 30,000 feet from the ocean. So let's go ahead and draw this right triangle. Label this one as 10,000, this one as 30,000, and you have theta here because you're trying to follow the angle at which you would have to look up to see the peak if you were standing on the beach. So, it is the tangent of theta is equivalent to 10,000 over 30,000. And once again, because you are solving for an angle, you put tan to the negative first in your calculator. And you get the correct answer, which is roughly 18.43 degrees. But you're not done with this problem, as there are two parts to it. And then it asks, what is the straight line distance, aka the hypotenuse here, from the beach to the peak? So now, you gotta find the hypotenuse, which we're gonna label as h. Well, not necessarily h, we're just gonna label it as c, for the sake of ease. But since you already know these two sides, you can go ahead and do the Pythagorean theorem. So, put this into the calculator. 10,000 squared plus 30,000 squared. And that gives you a number of 1 billion, which equals c squared. Let's go ahead and write that out. Now, we are not done here with Pythagorean theorem. We need to find the square root of 1 billion and c squared. So c